Hello and welcome to HHO Health Inspection Show with Dr. Key. And I know a lot of you are aware of ozone layer, which protects the earth from global warming and protects people from getting cancer as a result of a long exposure to UV radiations from the sun. But are you aware of ozone therapy? Well, ozone therapy is said to be anti-aging, anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and immune booster. Well, let me show you how ozone is produced. The stratospheric ozone is produced naturally from a chemical reaction involving the solar ultraviolet radiations and oxygen molecules, which makes up about 21% of the atmosphere. And the sunlight breaks apart one molecule of oxygen to produce two oxygen atoms, and these highly reactive oxygen atoms combine with one oxygen molecule to produce ozone molecule. So this is the same process repeated in an ozone therapy machine, which you can get on the market very cheap to buy. Well, ozone treatment has been in existence over 100 years before the discovery of penicillin, and it was the only antibiotic used during the First World War to treat soldiers suffering from gangrene and other diseases. Well, ozone treatment is still not in the main practice, but still practiced now in Germany, Austria, Japan, USA, and other parts of Europe. Well, people will be asking, why is it still not in the mainstream practice? Well, let me clarify this. The FDA is not against ozone treatment, but can come up against anyone who practices ozone with any medical error, which can happen even in the mainstream. Well, the reason ozone treatment is still not in the mainstream is because it is safe, it's beneficial, it's a holistic practice, and there is no patent or whatsoever to anyone. And this can be done in the home, at the workplace, at the hospital, or any other facility. Now, ozone therapy kills viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and even cancer cells. And this is not to say it is the ultimate cure for cancer. It is not, but can help improve cancer treatment.
2006, I had colorectal cancer, and I had radiation treatment. When I was first diagnosed, I had surgery, and then right after surgery, I was wearing a pump, an infusion with chemo, and at the same time, I was undergoing radiation treatment. On the 11th day of doing that, after doing that, I was hospitalized because of radiation burns. The doctors at the hospital told me that I would never be able to eat a normal diet. And I didn't believe it right back then. But after that, I needed 32 more radiation treatments. So, that was what I needed in order to remove the cancer. I had surgery in 2008 because of radiation burns. And then after that, I thought everything would be all right, but then I kept having more problems and more issues. Last December 2012, I developed radiation-induced colitis. I decided to talk to Dr. Divine, and I asked him, what can I do? I cannot take medicines. There's no treatment for this type of colitis. And he said he had read in some of the medical journals that there was some improvement after hyperbaric treatments. And that's how, I decided, okay, let's try it. And it was like a week or two after I started the treatment that, the colitis went away. It was incredible. So we decided, since I have other symptoms too, we decided to do the entire 60 treatments. And I've seen some improvement. I'm still burned, but the symptoms, I can handle them better. And I can feel a change in my body. When you're there, I would feel like it was a little piece of heaven because I felt so well. All my symptoms were gone. While you're inside of the chamber, you don't feel anything. You feel like a normal person. You feel like dancing. The first night that I had my first treatment in 2011, I danced for 2 hours in my house because I was so happy. And I was feeling like my body was feeling like normal again.
Now, this therapy can be done at home to treat your drinking water. And it kills the bacteria, protozoa, fungi, whatever in the water, and improves the taste of the water. It also removes odor from the water. And this can be done at a larger scale in a water supply company, and it's recommended for government. Even in Japan, the Japanese government is using this water treatment to supply their people. And this can be done at home. Just watch this video and see how you can do this in your homes.
So here we have the Ozone 500i. It's a multifunctional ozone and negative ion generator. Here's the tubing and the stone. For the anion part, you just turn it on, press set once, and that turns it to the negative ion generator. And you just set the minutes, usually somewhere between 10 and 30 minutes for an average room size. For ozone, however, you only need a few minutes, depending on the size of the container. So like for instance for this carafe here, we'd put the stone in there and then turn on the ozone generator, and you see how the carafe is getting ozonated. You can put fruits, vegetables in there if you wanted to sanitize them. You could also sanitize meat for cooking if you wanted to. And so here's the carafe. It's also really good for 5-gallon bottles if you want to do long-term water storage. For that, you might want to set for 5 minutes. That's it. That's the Ozone 500i. Very simple, but very powerful.
Now compare the water before and after treatment. Wow, this is classic.
I have 2 glasses of water right next to me before and after we treat our water here at our home in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I'm going to show you what they look like behind a towel here, so that way you can better see what's going on. So you can see that this water right here definitely has an orange tint to it. It actually tastes exactly the same as this one, which is really pretty clear for a home water system. What's gone on here is we've ozonated the water, we've then mechanically filtered the water, and that's all that we've done. We don't have any ion exchange treatment systems in our water system except for the washing machine and the shower water, because we do like soft water. But for drinking water, we don't do anything other than just mechanically filter and ozonate. This glass obviously has some floating solids in it. That's part of why this is not as clear as this glass right over here, but it also has dissolved iron and dissolved manganese in the water. If you have a problem with iron buildups on your white porcelain, or if you have laundry that is turning slowly orange over time, this is a problem that you likely have in your water. Ozone is going to be a pretty easy way to take care of this, especially if you live in a rural area where you have to have water around for fire protection, or if you just have a cistern for your water supply because your well pumps a little bit too slowly for house use. Right over here you can see the result of ozonation and then mechanical filtration.
This ozone-treated water boosts your immune system and kills any bacteria, fungi, or protozoa, whatever bad parasite in the gut. And it helps to improve oral hygiene and cures any dental problem.
All right, so one of the most basic treatments that we offer our patients here at Maxwell Dental is the use of ozone. Now, for those of you who don't know what ozone is, it's a highly reactive form of oxygen that just kills bacteria and fungi and parasites and all kinds of viruses that live in our mouths. So it can help us in many ways. It can help slow the progression of cavities by killing the bacteria that cause the cavities to form in the first place. It can also help us clean out our gums so that fewer bacteria are present that cause things like gingivitis and other advanced forms of gum disease. It's a really popular treatment because it's so effective. We offer it all the time. So it doesn't take very long. You know, if we want to treat a cavity, for example, it only takes a couple of minutes. There's actually ozonated olive oil as well that we sell that you can take home and use on these same areas if you have a troublesome area in your mouth, it helps to really clean it up. Or if you have a cavity forming inside your mouth and you want something at home that has ozone, well, you use ozonated olive oil. You rub it on the tooth. There's really nothing more natural than using oxygen. And that's really the most beautiful part about ozone, is that it's so natural. It's in the atmosphere, our bodies produce it, and we just so happen to have a machine that makes it here in the office, pure ozone. And so we use it every single day to help out our patients achieve their optimum health.
Well, this is Ozone Treatment, an interview between Randy Alvarez and Dr. Howard Labort. And this is another ozone treatment done with a pressure machine to draw the blood sample into a bottle and treated with ozone therapy, and the blood is transfused back into the system of the patient. And just watch how this therapy is done.
So so if I have a virus right now, everybody has something going on in them at one point. But so let's say I have viruses in here. How is it, and help me understand this, how is this killing those bad bugs? Or if there's cancer cells in me right now, how is it killing those cells? Is it just making my immune system fight those better? Or is it the ozone, the oxygen, that kills those things because those diseases don't like oxygen?
Yes, cancer grows typically in an oxygen-poor environment. That's what helps cancer cells to grow. So when you saturate the body with oxygen like that, that's one reason that can slow down the growth of cancer. That won't necessarily kill the cancer cells, but that can suppress them from rapidly dividing and rapidly growing. So that's one component. The second component would be the boost that you get to your immune system. So on the one hand, you're suppressing the growth of the bacteria, the virus, or the cancer cell, and then simultaneously, while you're suppressing it, you're also boosting your immune system to come in and attack it.
Wow, this is classic and amazing. Can this cure coronavirus? Well, I'm being curious if it improves the immune system. Well, let's go on.
So you're hitting those organisms and cells from two different components simultaneously. And you're not poisoning your body while you're doing it, which a lot of chemotherapeutic drugs and pharmaceuticals, even antibiotics, do, is they actually suppress your immune system. All the drugs that are used for autoimmune, suppresses your immune system. A lot of people who have been on chronic immunosuppressive treatment for an autoimmune disease, they often get another illness later down the road. I know a man, he was a good friend of mine, he had a kidney transplant, and they kept him on an autoimmune suppression course. They had to, because otherwise his body would have rejected the kidney. What do you think he ended up dying of? He had cancer, because he had no immune system to fight the cancer off. This would have been great for him. This would have been great for him.
So is this one of those things, because look, I mean, everybody, no matter what profession you're in, you get excited about something, right? And you end up telling all your buddies about it or whatever. Do you find yourself doing that? Like telling your circle of friends, like, you got to do this?
Well, I talk about ozone all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Because I hear a lot of my friends will talk to me and they'll be complaining of something, and I say, let's give you some ozone. We'll usually get you better. I'll give you a great story. I have a girlfriend who's a doctor, and she runs an urgent care clinic, and she's really good. She's really smart. She's been an ER doctor for 30 years, and she knows everything. And she's phenomenal. She's really a top doctor. And she gets the worst bronchitis I've ever seen. And it takes her out, and she usually gets it twice a winter. And she is so sick. And she typically goes on steroids, antibiotics, all the inhalers, and she suffers and suffers.
So
and
this has been
suffers.
going on for many, many years.
Years and years.
A couple
and years.
times a year.
Yeah. So I first started dating her. She comes down with one of these bronchitis episodes, and I say to her, "You got to come to my office. I'm going to give you ozone. Get rid of it." She poo-pooed it. She goes, "Are you kidding?" She goes, "I would never do that." She's so traditional. She's like straight arrow traditional. Okay, this goes on. It goes on.
So she didn't accept it at first. She probably told all of her friends, dating this new guy, and he's into this ozone. I think he's crazy.
She wouldn't even tell her friends. She wouldn't even tell her friends. She wouldn't talk about this. She thought it was just insane that I was doing this. Anyway, to make a long story short, we've been dating for years now. This bronchitis thing happens twice a year. Finally, I convinced her to come in. I gave her a treatment. Lo and behold, the next day, she was better. Normally, she's sick for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Clearly, 6 weeks sick. So I say to her, well, what do you think of your ozone treatment? So she's very skeptical. She goes, well, there might be something to it. There might be something to it.
Because you got it early on, right when it started,
Exactly.
her bronchitis.
Exactly.
So then she was thinking, well, maybe it wasn't bronchitis.
But she's
coming
never gotten rid of it before. It's never stopped. Once it starts, it's a progressive
so
downhill
it's done.
course.
So she hasn't gotten it?
Anyway, I've done this now 3 or 4 times. I catch it early, and I stop it dead in its tracks. Now, she gets bronchitis. She calls me up. She says, can I come in for an ozone treatment? I'm the first person she calls when she starts to get sick.
Well, this is today's episode of HHO Health Inspection Show with Dr. Key. My name is Dr. Key, and I'm going to leave a link of the full interview between Randy Alvarez and Dr. Howard Leibowitz. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Humanity Health Organization. Peace.